Can you let go of life 100%? That's the question. Why am I asking that question? The truth is, someday you're going to have to. Do you think that you can do it, or do you think that you'll keep holding on as though you have some sort of control? Letting go of what needs to be let go of can help you immensely. Knowing what to let go of or when to let go of can help you immensely. I always turn to the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity, which is peace. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. But the courage to change what you can. That's important. The courage, but it's the courage. Is it the courage, Brian? Guys, I think it's the courage. Can you be okay with letting go 100%? Not letting go of what you should let go of creates a form of distress mentally and physically and affects the body. So you think of the word emotion, it has the word motion. So there's always movement in emotions. Your emotional side of your brain perceives life faster than your logical side of the brain. When you think of the development of the brain, you look at infants as they're growing in the womb, you see that the parts of the brain, the subconscious part, the old brain, the part that's fight or flight or keeps you alive, basically, runs all of your organs, that develops first. And then you have an emotional. And the emotion comes from the amygdala, which is in the limbic system. Amygdala comes from the word almond because it's almond shaped. I don't remember the language in which that is. Latin, maybe? Don't quote me. So many times, a lot of the times, I think most of the times, your emotional brain is perceiving life quicker than your logical brain. But this does happen, and this does happen a lot. In fact, research shows us that we make emotional decisions and then we back it up with logic, and then we think that we just made a logical decision. But that's why emotional intelligence is important, because you start learning the emotional side of your brain. Now, I know that emotional intelligence might trigger some people because they think it's a buzzword, and that's fine. You can think that, but that's what it's known as at the moment. It is pop psychology. I'll agree with that, but it is important to know. Just because it's a buzzword or that it's pop psychology doesn't mean it's not important. There are a lot of important things. So think about love or happiness, right? There's a feeling of warmth, right? There can be sexual arousal. There's a feeling of trust and even a little anxiety, vulnerability. But if you're really in love, if you're really infatuated, there's not, if you hit that point where your boundaries go down and you're just, you totally trust this person, there's the opposite effect of fight or flight take place. But if you are angry or if you feel fear, right? If you're surprised in a negative way, if you're surprised in a positive way, there are some good things that take place and the body relaxes with that. There is some anxiety to key you up. But if you're feeling the negative emotions, your heart starts pounding, you have a sudden surge of adrenaline, and then cortisol, which is the hormone that elevates the blood pressure so that it's pumping harder. And then you go pale because the blood supply doesn't need to go to the face, it goes to the main parts of the body. So with anger, blood flows to the hands, making it easier to grasp a weapon or strike a foe. Heart rate increases, rush of hormones, adrenaline generates pulse of energy strong enough for vigorous action, right? So that's with anger. That can happen with fear. It's a fight or flight instinct, right? That can happen with being surprised at whatever's taking place. So these emotions are affecting your body. It's not good for your body to run at a certain beat per minute. It's not good for your, it reminds me of the movie Gone in 60 Seconds. At the end of the movie, after he was just using the nitro boost, if you remember, that movie was pretty sweet. At the end, when he was using the nitro boost, eventually the car came to a stop and it was just like worn out. There was like nothing left because he just ran that thing ragged just to escape. That's what happens to your body. It's like the nitro is on all the time. Eventually it burns out and then you're out of energy. This is why it's important to let go of certain things, because when you have that anxiety, when you feel like you're trying to control life, which you really can't, just your behavior is all you can control. When you feel like you're trying to control things that you can't and you need to let go of, you're going to get aggressive, and you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to get anxious and even depressed, right? And there's a grieving process because you feel like you're losing something. So all of this can actually manifest in your body as far as like ulcers or hypertension or breathing issues, back problems. It gets stuck in your body because that's what the emotion does to you. So the number one thing to deal with this, the number one step to deal with this is next time you're feeling keyed up, stop and take 3 deep breaths, right? Breathing is so important and we don't do it enough. I just read a book that talked about how our oxygen quality is lowering, especially in cities. Fortunately, I live out in farm country, but it's still lower than it used to be. We don't breathe enough. People aren't exercising enough. I'm not going to go into it. That's for another video. But the first thing is take a couple deep breaths and just relax. Just step back and start observing. We might be in autopilot. And if we are, we're doing things that are probably not great for us, but we survived, so we're just going to do it again. Unless we notice that we did it, which is what I'm saying. It's called mindfulness, being aware of what you're doing, what you're feeling when you are anxious or keyed up. Otherwise, fight or flight kicks in. We're habitual creatures. We just do the same thing just to survive it. We survive it, but we're not happy about it. And this is why it's very important to face your demons, basically. But that's for another video. There's going to be more on this, on what to do, and maybe that's what it needs to be, is how to face your demons. But just remember, when you're starting to feel keyed up, slow down, take a deep breath, and notice what you're thinking, what you're feeling, both mentally and physically. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section. And good game, everybody.